The president is stepping up pressure on America's NATO allies to increase their military spending, and he's putting it in writing. Major Garrett is at the White House tonight.
Ahead of next week's NATO summit in Brussels, President Trump sent a letter to the Prime Minister of Norway that made clear he will not relent on his criticism of NATO allies' lagging defense budgets. Norway, the president wrote, remains the only NATO ally sharing a border with Russia that lacks a credible plan to spend 2% of its gross domestic product on defense. Norway is far from alone, and the president has reportedly sent similar letters to other countries. Of the 28 NATO nations, only 3 besides the United States spent the promised 2% of GDP on defense last year. Throughout his presidency, Mr. Trump has prodded NATO nations to spend more,
which many of them have not been doing. Many of them have not been even close.
European allies are hoping next week's summit goes better than last month's G7 meeting in Canada. That meeting was marked by tense exchanges between Mr. Trump and other world leaders over trade.
If the expectation was that a weekend in beautiful Charlevoix, surrounded by all sorts of lovely people, was going to transform the president's outlook on trade in the world, then we didn't quite perhaps meet that bar.
Since then, the trade war has only ratcheted up. Harley-Davidson announced it would move some U.S. motorcycle production overseas to avoid European tariffs. And Canada announced retaliatory tariffs on more than $12 billion worth of U.S. imports. Europeans worry these disputes signal disunity and do so just before President Trump will head to Helsinki, Finland for his first summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Now, the White House insists Mr. Trump has challenged Russian aggression in Europe and argue its push for more defense spending among NATO nations will help, not hurt, those efforts. Jeff?
All right, Major Garrett, thank you.